Right, over the ditch, it is back. Matty Markham, hello to you, my friend.
Hello, Paul. How are we, mate?
I'm very, very well. We do have a sponsor this week, and I want to make sure we can get the message out there. The guys from NZB are great supporters of Campbell's comments right across all of them, and they've got their weanling sale on the 23rd of May. 106 lots will go under the hammer. Going forward, there's 2 yearlings actually involved in that as well, so make sure you get there the 23rd of May. There'll be a couple of little banners going across the bottom as well throughout the show to keep in touch with that. But it's at Karaka on the Sunday, which is a beautiful part of the world. Thursday. I said Sunday, Thursday. It's the lead into, I'm going to get into trouble here, the Rowe Cup, almost lost it, and the Auckland Cup. Massive time for Auckland harness racing, mate.
Yeah, it is, and there's a lot of good success stories out of that particular sale. When you look down the list of horses, obviously top there in that little promo that they've got on their website by Artie by the Seaside, who of course set WA alight on the weekend, first up there, and was so good doing it. So tends to be a little bit easier to get your hands on one than what it probably can be at the annual yearling sales as well. So if you're in the market for a horse to help fill a box or two, definitely make sure you either get online registered or get yourself up to that sale and get involved.
It was you guys call him hard copy, but my hard copy when he come across here, and like he was a weanling sale purchase. Copy that was a weanling sale purchase. Majestuoso was a weanling sale purchase. Just an embarrassment of riches that have come out of it. Even there's a trotter in WA at the minute. I think they paid 14,000. It might be on the end of this ticker actually, because it still might have the trotter things. Maestro, I will go with Maestro. 12 starts, 14 starts, 12 wins, and 2,000 short of $100,000. $14,000 purchase, and he's done that in WA. So just massive amount of value to be had there at these sales.
Yeah, well, it's the old adage that good horses can come from anywhere, and you don't have to be spending mega bucks to get your hands on a potential champion. I stood next to the man who brought Mainland Banner for $9,000 at the yearling sales in Christchurch. So, I mean, considering what she went on and did, you don't, there's no rhyme nor reason when it comes to buying racehorses, especially young, untried stock. So, yeah, I always enjoy the weanling sale because it's nice to see those horses progress. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what eventuates out of this year's sale.
Yep, I will be there. We'll get some things organised while I'm over there too, some interviews and some other stuff. Right, have not seen you since the Grins and the Tab Trot night, where you were the punter and the rest. How'd the punt go? We're not about to punt too much on these shows, but how did the punt end up?
Money returned.
Well, that's okay.
Got a good night of fun had by all. It was 1 week power play in the race by Grins, which was 50,000 power play on both Don't Stop Dreaming and Can Go to Run top 4, which got us out of a bit of a hole. So other than that, she was pretty slim pickings on what was a tough night to try and find winners.
Thoughts on the Grins? Merlin just outstanding.
Oh, incredible. With the run he had in front and the drive from Natalie Rasmussen, Don't Stop Dreaming should have won. And I know Mark Purdon's come out and said the same and feels the same. Merlin, I think any lingering doubts hanging over anyone here in New Zealand about Merlin are now vanished, because there just seemed to be this weight towards Don't Stop Dreaming. But I think given the fact that he had to come from a few lengths behind him and wide and run him down in that race was quite remarkable. Just another great addition of the race. And great to see a horse like Can Go, who come in at the last minute. Obviously, he's lobbed the ace draw and copped the perfect trip and gone super. But, gee, there were some good runs in behind. Self-assured, if you go back and watch his run from the top of the straight, was ginormous.
So he was the horse on the pegs?
Yeah. And you didn't really truly value how good his performance was until they actually showed a bit of drone footage. And it showed how much, when he finally got down to that passing lane, how much ground he actually made up inside that last furlong. He's flying. He heads to Alexandra Park this week, which will be interesting, obviously, for a very, very good race. And we'll talk about that a bit more. But no, another fantastic addition. And, of course, you can only stand and applaud Just Believe, and obviously Greg and Jess. What a wonderful, wonderful horse he is. He just looked absolute tradesman-like doing that. He was just could have been anywhere in the world racing. He was happy plodding along. And then when Greg asked him to go, he just found that incredible 7th gear that he's got and made it look really, really easy. And I'm pleased that he stuck over here and we get to see a bit more of him on New Zealand soil, because he's certainly going to add a lot as we build towards these races like the Rowe Cup, starting with the Lyell Creek Stakes this Friday night.
Yeah, and he's in that, of course, and we'll touch on that towards the end of the show. He is a horse. I encourage people to make an effort to go to the races and have a look. He's not a wow factor. He's not the best looking, dude on the park or anything else along those lines. He's a cool dude. He's got his little bit of personality, but just such a beautiful racehorse. Flops around on a loose rein. And Greg just asks him, and he just gives. And it was, the Aussies ran 1-2. I'll say 3 just to keep everyone happy, but I still don't see how we can claim Queen leader. But anyway, but overall, that race was just outstanding. I think Muscle Mountain ran second last and got beat a bit over a length and a bit, and through just wide barrier draws, poor barrier draws. I think it's been the race of the year, and it'll be hard pressed not to be the race of the year in harness racing for 2024. My thoughts, anyway.
Yeah, it will be. Obviously, we've got some very good pacing races coming up in the next few weeks too, which might try and rival it. And the fact that we've still got some Australian interest, Inspect the Truth and Better Eclipse, who we will talk about later on, over here taking on Don't Stop Dreaming, Merlin and Co. Is going to make for some really exciting racing over the next month at Auckland. And then, of course, we've got Carnival after Carnival to sink through as well. But the TAB Trot certainly set the benchmark high, and everything else has got to try and punch that way to achieve it.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely outstanding. Rightio, we will get a little bit more current. We're going to go backwards. We better go back. We'll go back to, I'll do them in, we'll do them in order. We'll go back to Addington, just the main metro meeting last week. There was at least one horse we've got to make a little bit of a mention on, Matt. Otherwise, you won't get Christmas dinner.
Mm-hmm. And Woodland Stud might be ringing you to redo your contract.
He was outstanding bet and win.
Yeah, he was. Phenomenal performance first up, and very exciting for obviously my sister Stacey and her husband David, who train him. And you only got to have a conversation with Bob Buck post that race to realise just how good he potentially could be. The drums have been beating for a while that he is a nice horse, but they did the right thing. Stacey and David were having a few issues with his feet, so they sent him out to Bob for an extended period to be trained on the beach out there at Woodend, and he matured a lot with that. And then obviously he went up north and he was based with Maddie White and Bridget Solomon, and he won a $50,000 race there on New Year's Eve and did that really nicely. And he's come back a much more well-rounded racehorse. This might, to the naked eye, if you hadn't seen it, look pretty easy in a race you might expect him to win, but they've run 3:17 here first up, and that's a very good horse peeling out of the 1-1 now called Mighty Logan, who sweeps to the front. Great drive by John Dunn. He did everything he could to try and beat Bet and Win, who's back down to the inside now. But here I thought, we're going to run a nice closing second, but once Bob really asked him to extend, he really drove to the line, and probably what was more impressive was the work from the winning post for about 300 metres afterwards. You'll see a shot of him here. He's absolutely charging, and he took about another 600 metres to pull up. So he'll head to the Uncut Gems in a fortnight. A fortnight's time at Addington. Very similar race. And I know that the connections are sitting by the phone waiting for a potential call from Queensland. David's quite keen to get over to the Erin race and what I believe is the Great Square, which is a new race, $150,000. So I think there's 4 races they could potentially target with them, a lead up a $30,000, $150,000 race, maybe a $50,000 race, and then another $150,000 free-for-all at the end of the carnival there. Yeah.
The first one will be the Redcliffe Cup, which I reckon they might miss with a horse like him, because it's although you guys are used to 3 straight tracks, but it's a much, much tighter track. But that's the first one. Then I think you go to the Great Square. And then the last one's the Trotting Championship. I can't remember what the one is in between, but there is definitely, 3. There's 3 main races that he can have a crack at. And there's so much great prize money on offer through that whole carnival. So, you say he sits by the phone. He got on the front foot, Dave White. It was one of the first things, he just said, I hope Queensland were watching. So, and I know they were. I know I've done a couple of shows, and I definitely know the Queensland team were watching, which is great. And it just build up again. And as I say, the trotters, the rise of the trotters, they're building this bit of suspense, and it's pretty cool, actually, I think, what's going on there. So.
Yeah, 100%. And, to bring that Kiwi interest to the carnival as well, we saw it last year and the year before. And I know for David, it would be quite special for him to be able to get back to his homeland and campaign a horse over there. He's still got strong ties to Australia with obviously his parents, Paul and Marlene, there, and of course cousin Cam and Ashley and all the Hart family. So there's plenty of them that will be lining the fence, including me. I think I'll be hopping on a plane to pop over, particularly for the Great Square. So hopefully the phone does ring and they get that invite, and we can go on a wee trip over to your side instead of you coming over to us, Paul.
It's a nice place, Queensland, in the middle of winter. It's actually an interesting race too, because it's a little bit like the Tab Trot and those, where your barrier draw is a little bit allocated for you. 3-year-olds draw inside 4-year-olds, 3-year-old fillies draw inside, then the 3-year-old colts, then the 4-year-old mares, and then the 4-year-old geldings. So he's not going to draw overly great, but then you might, I think last year there was only 2 3-year-olds entered, so then the opportunities were there to draw a lot better. Rockin' with Attitude is already penciled in, I believe. She's accepted an invite, so she's going back. She won the Oaks and the Derby last year, so she's definitely going, and she'll draw inside of him. But it's a terrific race and a lot of intrigue. RC Phoenix, which you guys saw there, he ran second in it last year to a horse called London to a Brick, actually, who is a 3-year-old. I suspect he possibly, like now a 4-year-old, he's got that still earmarked as well. So good race, really intriguing race, and it's great to see. I'm going to say battling trainers, because I mean they're not big numbers. I don't mean battling trainers as they are doing it hard or anything along those lines. They both work pretty hard, both Stace and Dave. But good to see young trainers is a better word, isn't it? Having a good crack with a nice horse and getting the travel if it comes off, and if it doesn't come off, they're still going to have a lot of fun for the next couple of years in New Zealand. Anyway, with a horse like him.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come off if you saw them at Auckland for the Road Cup Carnival. Whether that meant they would go on the Road Cup, I'm not sure, but I think they would trip up there and have a look around there again, because he trotted so well up there last time. But yeah, exciting times, and who knows, there might even be another Kiwi that might come out of the woodwork and grab themselves an invite as well. There's some nice races coming up. As I said, we've got the Uncut Gems coming up next Friday night at Addington, so there's opportunities there for more interest to be grown.
We get in trouble for going off track a bit, but Sunny's sister, 4-year-old mare,
she goes around this Friday night at Addington, which I presume is a precursor towards her heading towards some bigger challenges. She's fresh up for a while, but we know what a quality trotter she is. She takes on a very, very good field of fillies and mares in the About Now, they have called it, named after one of the great trotters of New Zealand. Some good field in there. You've got Euro Style, obviously I Dream of Jeannie, the Bloss. So it'll be interesting to see how she goes. Obviously coming into it with some winning form off the 40-metre handicap.
And I do know Johnny Dunn doesn't mind the Queensland hospitality. I have seen him firsthand, and he doesn't mind it at all. Auckland, we will, as I said, we've got a fair bit of ground to cover off on. It was an interesting meeting. There was a couple of Sire Stakes races. Barry Purdon and Scott Phelan, they're having a year out of the box at the minute, aren't they?
I actually mentioned that to someone sitting watching races on Friday night. I can't remember who it was, but I said, gee, they've got a good team of horses around them at the moment, and some really exciting younger stock coming through as well. Obviously, we saw them step out a couple of really nice trotters, particularly Higher Power, who was very, very good winning first up. Even the stablemate Meant to Be, who was disqualified from second. Yeah, a very, very serious racehorse. So, look, they're going to have a lot of fun over the winter because they've got a lot of stock, and they're going to race through some pretty nice races with some opportunities available to them. And you can go through their entire team. They've got some nice 2-year-old paces as well. So, exciting times for them. And they put a lot into the industry, and they're getting a bit back at the moment, which is good to see.
Paramount Kiwi for Maddie White. Great to see her back, and went terrific again. Beat a nice field there as well. Princess Sadie and Empire City, last year's 2-year-old filly of the year. Good field, and that's only a prelude to what's to come.
He's a very, very serious horse, Paramount Kiwi. His first up run at Cambridge was massive. He always looked like a horse that was going to come back better because he's a big framed son of Father Patrick. But he was awesome. Look, I think Princess Sadie and Empire City will improve a lot off that run. That was their first look at Alexandra Park. They both hit the line really well. I think they'll derive a lot of benefit out of it. It's a good wee crop of 3-year-olds this year. So that's Princess Sadie, 2 from the outside, and Empire City to the outside of it. Paramount Kiwi has stolen a march on the bend for Matty White and, wins it nicely, but good runs from the 2 on the outside. They're making up a lot of ground in their first look. At the Auckland way of going, Princess Sadie actually got very close to winning it. So it's going to be interesting to watch them battle over the coming weeks.
Looks like there's a little gear change there too, because I reckon that filly used to have a head check and also a set of block winkers, Princess Sadie. So, a couple of little gear changes. Looks like she doesn't have a head check on and taking the winkers off her too, because she did get a few things wrong towards the end of her campaign last time in, but that was good. Matty Williamson, he's had a good run. We'll touch on Matty in a second. And then the other one was Young Guns for the 2-year-old fillies. And I said there before about Barry Purdon and Scott Phelan, 1, 2, 3 with those 2-year-olds. And just nice to see these babies starting to step out. Adds a little bit of intrigue. Probably not a lot you can glean from this race, though.
No, the winner is very good, and what a continuation of this breed set up by the late Charles Roberts. It is an incredible breed. You know, this one tracks back to the Splendid Dreams, which of course is the result of so many great horses that we've seen over recent years and even further back. Little professional, this one. You're the one that I want. She just really knuckles down into her work. I like the run of the second horse on Sandra D. It's improved a lot off its 2 performances, and I think they're going to have some really, really good battles over the coming weeks. A bit like the Trotters, there's not much between them, and it might come down to who gets the best run on the night.
Yep, absolutely. Is there anything else from that meeting? I'll get in trouble.
No. I just thought probably going forward, All Cashed Up was very good.
Yeah.
Absolutely flying at the moment, and will have to be because steps up to the big time this week and takes on the good trotters in the Lowell Creek Stakes. So Crystal seems to get on with that horse very, very well and drives him super. He was just way too good for them on Friday night, and he probably should have been. Don't get me wrong. I think he was the best horse in the race, and he delivered as he should have, but he's right in the zone at the moment. And as we know, a trotter in the zone is always a dangerous thing.
He's an interesting horse. The reason they sent him over there, because he's harassed the trotters bred, is that he has stifle issues. He actually had 2 incidents at Maryborough Track where he got over the tie-ups. So he has a stifle issue. So he has a hankering for that wrong way. So that's why he's gone there, shouldn't say wrong way, because the guys on the North Island will say that that's the right way to race. We all race the wrong way, but the opposite direction, if you like. And he had to have a few runs there at Cambridge, and he didn't perform to his best. But I reckon it nearly might have made him, because now he's gone back that other way, and he just seems to have, like you said, Crystal's got on him. He's got his own. Not knocking anyone else that's driven him, because he is a handful of a horse, but they definitely seem to be clicking. And good fit for Crystal right at the minute too. A young lady making great headway in the industry, and to get onto a nice trotter, albeit with issues, it's a good selling point for her, I think.
Oh, 100%, and a good selling point for the talents of Bernie Hackett and Michelle Wallace as a training combination. There's a lot to be said for beach training, and I know it's such a successful thing over here. And, those horses that can get a little bit wound up, spending X amount of time wandering in the surf every morning's got to be good for the soul and the mind. And they're a lot happier and a lot calmer horses generally. And I think that's the case with this horse in particular, because you're right, he can be a bit of a hothead when he wants to be, but he has seemed very, very chilled lately on what I've seen, especially out on the track. So there might be more in store for him just yet.
He's a naughty boy. I must say, I've seen him a couple of times, and yeah, it's an experience watching them put him in the cart. They do a good job. Right, Diamonds Day, Group 1 Diamonds Day, Sunday, Invercargill. I was there last year, wasn't able to get there this year. Didn't do a preview for it. I apologise to Jason Broad and everyone there, because this is a cracking meeting. It's a must-watch. It is absolutely no good for me. You had car racing on at Te Apa or somewhere like that, the V8s. I'll say the name wrong. The F1s were on later on. I got into all sorts because I spent the day on the couch, and it started at about 9 o'clock, I reckon it started on Sunday with these races. Brilliant day of racing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's, it's the pinnacle of Southland racing, if you like. Obviously, alongside Invercargill Cup Day, which is becoming quite a big occasion as well. But this one's always interesting because there's so much build up to it through the fact that horses have to race in heats to qualify for the finals of both the Southern Supremacy and the Southland Oaks.
Yep.
And then in recent times, I've gone and thrown a Group 1 into the mix, the 2-year-old classic at the Diamond Creek Farm 2-year-old classic, and a great undercard as well. So big day of racing, a lot of build-up, a lot of excitement, and it certainly didn't disappoint on the track.
We'll start with the 2-year-old classic, if you like, the Diamond Creek 2-year-old classic with the Diamond Carrots involved as well. Great race. This horse, is it Ribera? Is that how we're going to say it?
Ribera, yep. Yep.
I actually went to Ribera's, the old Ribera's, the other night. So it's a seafood place and that. Super, super professional. I'll get the last 400. I'll let you talk about it. But the one thing that blew me away with this horse, Matty, how cool, and he is cool, Blair Orange was when a serious horse was getting up the inside of him. Also, I think he's got a real future as well. But the confidence that Blair Orange has in this horse is just outstanding.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, that's him in front now. 3 weeks prior in the Kindergarten Stakes, he'd sat parked and won, and I think that's where a bit of that Blair Orange confidence has come from. It's a pretty nice horse and Better's Amble outside him. You've got Always Dreaming in the trail. Harris got the chocolates, about to peel 3 wide. He's just got a real will to win, and you can see it inside the last 150 metres because it actually looks like Nathan Williamson's horse on the inside is going to run past him, but Blair sort of gets that little bit extra out of them as he does, and it's just done enough to hold on. He's super, this horse. What's he now? 3 from 3, 4 from 4, I think, maybe. And doing a super job. He's 3 from 3. Now, Delightful Cass, his broodmare, or his mother, is not a name that most would be familiar with, other than the fact that she is a sister to a very good mare by the name of Belle of Montana, who many will remember as a Group 1 winner, multiple Group 1 winner over here for Barry Purdon and Scott Fairland. So there is a bit of breeding on the side, and you generally only have to look down the ownership list of a horse to know whether it's any good or not. And when you see the name Kennard, Brecon Racing, Woodham, Cole and Cole, you generally know you're onto a good one because they don't miss very often in terms of the ownership, given that a few of them are actually involved in the trotter that we talked about a bit earlier on and bet and win as well. So they've had a good weekend. He's going to go on and do a super job, Ribera. I think, time's going to be a friend for him, but he's certainly making the most of it while he still can. He picks up 60,000 for that win on Sunday, which is just incredible, really, when you think about it. So good runs in behind. Always Dreaming was really good. Just going to keep getting better, that horse. And Got the Chocolates has done a pretty good job in a short time for Robert and Jenna Dunn too.
Yeah, he got the chocolates, just got a bit green when John pulled him out, had plenty to give and just lost his way for probably about 50 metres, but his last 50 metres was outstanding, just savaging the line. He was terrific.
Yeah, 100%. He's got better and better each time I've seen him go to the races.
I hit the wrong button, Matty. Matty, we'll go to the boys or the girls? We'll go to the boys because I got it up. And this was a race. This horse he's got a future. It was quite interesting watching him in the run. I'm talking of Built for Glory, and I'll let you talk a little bit more about him in a sec. But just one of the things that Craig Rail said in the call, pacing beautifully with a lap to go, he said, he's got a beautiful action. And I reckon ever since after that he said it, he just seems to get a one step into him. He's just got a few hitches in his gait and everything else like that. There's so much upside to this horse, I think, simply off the fact that he just still looks green and raw, unique action, but got a lot of ability.
Yeah, he's got a lot of ability. That's him in front, stablemate Double Jeopardy sitting in the trail. Paul, you will remember being at Omacare early in the new year. He won a maiden race that day, this horse. So he's gone on and done a pretty good job. You're right, he's got a lot to learn. Tim Williams speaks quite often about that fact that he's still very much a raw product, but the natural ability is there. There's no doubt about that. He's got really good push-button speed. It's an interesting way in the way that he does cover the ground, which probably looks a bit worse than it probably feels, but certainly effective in this. Now, what you haven't seen up until this point is Tim Williams has stolen this. He should be charged with robbery. Like, he has walked and he's got to the 800 and just sprinted. At this point, I thought, well, Tim will win, but the run of Double Jeopardy, who worked early to get around to the front before handing up to the stablemate, I thought was really good. And for a minute there, I thought we were going to see a Stonewall Quinella dead heat unfold, because they looked like they were going to go to the line locked together. Great run from Always. Dreams Are Free, storming home from out wide. He's made up a stack of ground in a quick last quarter. And Harrison John's done a good job. But we're going to see a lot more of this, I think, going forward. This Stonewall stud situation, with the stock that they're buying, the money that they're spending, both on equine and human in terms of the staff that they're building.
Yep.
They are now targeting these kind of races each and every year with 2 or 3 horses, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, not that they aren't already, even more going forward. You look at the breeding of these two alone. Built for Glory is a better's delight out of Fight for Glory, who was a multiple Group 1 winner. Double Jeopardy's a Captain Treacherous out of Better Think Twice, who was a multiple Group 1 winner. So they're buying quality bred stock and getting results with them, which is good. And certainly adding some spice to our feature race days, that's for sure.
Yeah, and as you said, I did it again. I keep hitting the wrong button. I keep going back one too far. It's not the first 1-2 they've had for the year, and it definitely ain't going to be the last one.
No, they've got a lot of stock to roll out in both islands over the coming weeks and months. So, we're about to get a bit more of a glimpse into what this stranglehold on harness racing in this country might look like if they continue in the manner in which they are.
And also the trotters. They're starting to step out quite a few trotters, which, again, that in itself is pretty cool as well. The Mackay Lodge Southern Oaks final. I'm going to be interested in your take on this, because this race did take a twist. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll let you go with it. I must say, very impressive, the winner in it. But an interesting little thing developed with a lap to go. Let's see. Just give me one sec, Matty. I'm just trying to get it. I'll go back a touch. It was actually 1,200 to go, and I just got to hit this button there, and you can do the rest, because Ruby Roo was odd, to say the least.
Yeah, so that's her moving up into Park, just getting round her stablemate and eventual winner, Flying Alley. And this is where the race was potentially actually won for Flying Alley, because at this point, Nathan Williamson's about to stride to the front. Tim Williams happy to hand up with RDB Mickey. Now, Ruby Rowe's done this before.
Oh, has she?
She's got around to the front, and she's gone a little rank.
Yeah.
And not wanting to actually cross down to the market pit. You can see Brent Barclay's popped out of the 1-1. Still got a little bit chaotic there. Tim Williams has gone, you know what? I might just boot up and stay in front here. Nathan Williamson said, well, this horse is travelling a bit better sitting Park, so I'm happy to sit there. And younger brother Matty Williamson sitting on the trail, probably wiping a little bit of sweat from his brow and going, well, that's worked out good for us, because in about 500 metres on from this, he's going to hit the gap and go on and win the Southern Oaks and do it in style too. She's been, I don't want to say the bridesmaid, but she's maybe been seen as the second fiddle filly in Nathan's team this year behind Ruby Rowe. But her runs have been excellent. She obviously finished second in a Great Northern Oaks a couple of starts back, so she's got a bit of ability on her side. It's finished second to All You Need Is Me, so it's about as good a form as a filly can have in the country at the moment. And just a little tradesman. She burnt out, found the markers early, then took the trail, relaxed beautifully, and at this point, I actually thought Tim Williams had driven the perfect race here, and he had them all off the bit. And then I saw how well Maddie was travelling, and I thought, oh, yeah. And Louis' Girl was the interesting one. That's her clearing Maddie's wheel there to come into it 3 wide. I thought she might have loomed into it there for a minute, but she came to the end of her run as the 2 kicked. And, yeah, it took most of the length of the straight for her to get there. Great run by RDB Mickey, but well-deserved win for Flying Alley. She's been a super filly all season, and she deserved that one. And great for Maddie to be able to get one for his big bro. I know he's pretty excited about that. And I think that might have been his first Southland Oaks. I'm just looking down the list now. Yes, it was. It's actually the first Southland Oaks for Williamson, looking down that list. So, yeah.
That's a cool little set. Louis' Girl was a horse that you were big on when it came to Addington through the Rich Carnival towards the end of last year. Looks like she hasn't gone backwards for mine. She did a bit of work out of the gate. I thought she was terrific. Maybe just done a little bit too much to be able to finish off at the end. But, that's the price you pay sometimes, isn't it, when you get those good draws too?
It is, and I think if you are sitting there and you're watching this, and there's a bit of Southland racing still to come over the next couple of weeks, you go back and put the circle around a few of those horses that have finished 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Most of them are still maidens. They're going to drop back into maiden races. They've been beaten 13, 14, 15 lengths here, but they're going to drop back into maiden races and win one quite quickly. So there's plenty you can take out of their performances going forward as well.
Yep, absolutely. Right, we're going to go back in numerical order because now it's a lot easier for me to remember, because the day started off, I think, with a bang. Secret Agent Man, Nathan Williamson. This was an outstanding win. Very, very stylish win. A horse that's got a future, I think. Anyway, I might be wrong, but I don't know about the opposition, but I don't think you have to with the way he won.
Oh, there's a couple of nice horses that he's beaten, and he's done it very easily. Another winner for Mick Boots, of course, of Mick's Boots Properties Limited. He's got horses everywhere around New Zealand at the moment, and he's getting a few results. This one's very well bred, being a Sweet Lou out of the very good mare in Carabella, who Brendan Hill trained. So looks to have a fair share of Mum's ability here. Probably not so much the horses that he's beat, but the manner in which he did it. He's run his last quarter in 27.6 under a hold and just absolutely jogged it. So he's going to go up in grade and do a pretty good job. Who knows? He might be the horse that later on in the year develops to be a Derby horse for Nathan.
And as you said, son of Sweet Lou, Mick Boots loves the Sweet Lou's. The amount of Australians that say, don't like the Sweet Lou's, no, don't want them. When Mick Boots rings them and says, I'm sending your horse, all of a sudden they fall in love with the Sweet Lou's, because he definitely has a really soft spot for them, that's for sure. And they go terrific. Chelsea Faithful and Jeremy Douglas, they got to experience a dead heat. You guys have having a few dead heats over there in New Zealand lately. It's quite strange, but Johnny Cox and Blair Orange dead heated it. Great to see Chelsea. She only trains a couple. She deputises for or helps out Nathan, I think, or she used to anyway. She may not now, but she definitely still did. So a good little result for her as well.
Yeah, definitely. For both her and for Jeremy Douglas, who trains Magic Sign. Two good Southerners getting a win on their biggest day of the year. They're the two horses just outside the leader, Dangerous and Tracy's, I guess you call them turquoise colours, and Magic Sign in the yellow and black. I thought Johnny was going to win it on the inside about 50 metres out, but Blair, as Blair does, has got that one last push in and dove, and it's meant that a dead heat's unfolded. And yeah, we do see a fair few of them over here. It's interesting. They do unfold more often than what you think they would, given the technology we've got now. I think we can get down to 1,000th of a second difference. I think the technology over here is a 1/10,000th of a second, maybe.
That's what it's 1/10,000.
Yeah.
I was scared to say. Yeah.
So if you're getting a dead heat now, it's definitely a dead heat.
To the naked eye, I'd give the race to Blair. If I had to pick one, you pick the outside. So, but it doesn't matter. But I just think it's a great little fillet there. Matty Williamson and Nathan Williams with Winning Bones winning. Was there much out of that race?
Well, interesting that Matty won a Southern Oaks for Nathan driving, and Nathan's won a race on the same day for Matty. Actually, I just saw a post before we come on that Winning Bones has been retired. They'd gone out on a winning note, so they decided to end his racing career and find him a forever home. He's been a wonderful horse for the Williamsons and those that had him before that, because he has been through a couple of stables. 101 starts, 10 wins, 17 placings and 111,000 in the bank. So done a super job and always sort of got out and on the speed and did a good job. So nice way to sign off on your career.
Great syndicate name too. Every day is a good day. What a ripper. That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is a ripper. Just on that, the Williamsons also, I see you posted the other day, retired Majestic Man last week. So.
Yeah. Two significant retirements, New Zealand Harness last week. Obviously, Majestic Man, who's been such a steadfast part of our open class trotting ranks for a long time, and obviously been over to Australia for a few times and competed over there. But him and also the multiple Group 1 winning there, All-American Lover, retired by Stumble Stub last week as well. So she'll head off to join their ever-growing breeding band of well-bred runners.
Yep.
She's done a super job on the track. I think she might have had some issues throughout her career that we probably haven't seen the best of her all the time, but she's certainly done a fantastic job. And Majestic Man, well, he doesn't need an awful lot said about him because his records speak for itself.
She, this clearly was something, because it's an unusual time to retire a mare. Now they've got plenty of time to keep her going. So obviously something come up. Now, you said before about Timmy Williams stole a race, robbery, if you like. He also copped the Southern hospitality, if you like, in this next race number 4. This was a great win by Mickey Bennett, the favourite. I think I've got it at the right spot here for you. This is a long race, so. Oh, what did I do there? I hit the wrong button. It's coming. Now we're right. It's up there. Didn't this horse do some work?
Oh, absolutely. It's been caught 4 wide before this, and then obviously 3 wide trying to get around them. Brad Williamson's horse is a bit like his brother's horse later on in the day and not wanting to get to the front outside the leader. Tim Williams has somehow managed to squeeze his way into the 1-1 here. I'm not quite sure still how he did it, but he got there and lobbed himself a nice wee trip from there on after. But this horse was fresh up from a spell, so it's been quite the performance. And you'll see in about 400, 500 metres time that he's gone on and won very impressively. I will say one thing.
They're in the 1-1 as we speak now, and watch it when it gets out. But sorry.
I will say one thing. The horse 3 fence at the moment in the Amber Hoffman colours.
Yep.
If it gets clear at the top of the straight, it wins by 4, clearing away from them. Blair goes for the gap there. It closes up on him. Mickey Bennett's coming, clearing a wheel there to the outside of the horse in yellow and red. Trail Boss still looking for a room. Have a look at its last 100 metres when it gets clear here. And the ground that it made up in 100 metres. I only mention that because there was a mug sitting somewhere on Sunday afternoon that had a bet on Trail Boss, and luckily it had a place bet at 21s as well. So, there's some nice horses there. Shouldn't take anything away from Mickey Bennett. Really good training performance to have him that on song, doing that much work inside the first lap just to find a spot and then to win. It was a very impressive effort.
Just out of curiosity, it's $4.80 the place, $4.10 the place. I won't rub it in too much. What was it paying to win?
26s, I think.
Oh, well.
Yeah. we'll move on.
Yeah. We talk about retirement. Sally Lendini also retiring for Kirsten Green, but bring on the muscles. Good, nice win.
Yeah, really nice win. Done a great job, Sally Lendini. Obviously won 11 races, which is no mean feat in this day and age. But bring on the muscles. Great to see him back in winning form because he looked so good last year as a 2-year-old, and then he's come back and hasn't quite looked the same horse. But great drive early from BG Barclay to get him onto the speed, and then he's managed to lob the trail behind Blair, who doesn't generally hand up around Invercargill, and that same explosive speed that we saw in his 2-year-old year was on show here. That's him sitting in the trail, and he really let down impressively once he got that gap, and he's just going to keep getting better and better and better, I think. And Clark will allow him the opportunity to fill into his frame a little bit more and develop. And very, very good performance on Sunday. As you see him burst through the inside here to win, pretty untouched too.
What would the plans be with him, Matty, going forward?
Well, it's hard to say whether they want to keep down in Southland until the end of the season and see what they can come up with there, and then maybe look to have him ready for a race like the Trotting Derby and some of those features later on in the season. Obviously, Southland shuts down for 6 weeks to 7 weeks there during the colder months, and might be a good chance for him to have a break or a nice slow and steady build-up. So it'll be interesting to see what the plans are with him.
Yeah, absolutely. The Telfers, they took out a race number 9, and race 10 was... Oh, actually, we will touch on race 10. Race 9, was there anything you wanted to touch on there with Beach Flyby? Half to Kahlua Flyby, of course.
Yeah, he's flying at the moment and pushed himself right into contention for the $110,000 Country Cups Championship that we've got coming up in Addington early next month. Stonewall likely to have 2 in there. Ultra Meteor is the other one. So that's shaping up to be quite a mouth-watering race as I try and bring up the list of points just to really get you excited about it, Paul.
I like points. We've got to have this in Australia. Don't you worry about that. But
country championship, here we are. So the points table at the moment, Smoke on the Water, who obviously runs second at Cambridge on Grins Night, is the current top leader. You've got Homebush Lad, Double Time, Beach Flyby, Here's Herbie, Village Rebel, Family Cash, Bodica Warlock. Now we get exciting because we've got on the cusp Tack McLeod, Mickey Shan, Ultra Meteor, Dashing Major, Dalton Shard, Charlie Brown. Go even further back, you've got Pin Seeker, Da Vinci. There's some really, really good horses that have got one more week to try and qualify this, which takes us to Rangiora on Sunday. It's going to be a cracking race out there because it works on your points accumulated through the series to actually qualify for the final, and they take the top point scorers are the ones that get spots. So horses like Pinseeker and maybe even Ultra Meteor probably need to get some points on the board on the weekend to push their case.
I was watching the race and then I looked over. I realised I hadn't switched it over for that, but that doesn't sort of matter too much. Da Vinci, he's just back there about third last at the minute. Doesn't he get home like a steam train in this race? But just getting back too far in some of these races.
Yeah, and I think the tempo that was run up front made it very hard for him to get into it. I mean, his last 400 metres was exceptional, given they've run 27.5 off the front. Charlie Brown's done a great job on his Southland trip, and, you know, Da Vinci making up that ground. Geordie and One Change, of course, have been whacking away in those sort of races all year as well. So Beach Flyby, the good manners are what will bring him into contention, because he actually galloped away on Sunday, so I shouldn't say that. But he hit his hobbles and still managed to lead. So he's very quick when he hits those hobbles.
Yeah, and the standing start race was one of the, I said before about races of the year last year. It was definitely one of the races of the year as well. Katrina and John Price, people have had a lot to do with selling horses over the years. I've actually swapped over. Woodland's got 41 yearlings in the weanling sale coming up as well, so don't worry about that. And this little mare is by Better's Delight, of course, champion son of theirs. Doing a great job. Ticked over the $100,000 mark for them. Of course, it's full to Republican Party, so it's a valuable brood mare as well. And they'd be bloody wrapped, I reckon, winning on their home track on one of the biggest days they have.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, she was a moral in this race, given that she's dropping back out of races behind Sweet Diamonds, Fernley Blackbird, you know, All American Lover, etc. She went up to Eddington for the Group 2s. She's done a super job. You throw Blair Orange on the last race of the day, you're looking to get out. Well, he's the man that you're getting on. And so that's her third last on the outside in the what looked to be orange colours there coming wide. She's got a really impressive turn of foot, but she's also a Dow staying filly too, I think, in the making. And this is a good performance because there's nice horses there inside her that are going really well at the moment. But she's got the job done nicely and deserved that win. You're 100% right. Especially on the home track on Southland's biggest day. So, yeah, there's more in store for her. Don't worry about that. She's up to most of the mares in the country and will take her place in many of those features going forward.
I will say one of the highlights of me going down south was having tea with the Prices. This is not name dropping or nothing else like that. But their daughter, whose name has just left me, makes the meanest homemade tiramisu ever. Anyone, I'm telling anyone, gets invited for tea and the tiramisu is there, just sit back, don't eat much of the main course. And watch, you got to watch John, because I tell you what, he has large spoons and they go very hard. So it is an outstanding meal. So, yeah, it is one of the best homemade tiramisus I've had for a long time. So well done to those guys as well. So I think that is great. Anything else for the week just gone that you wanted to touch on, Matty, before we have a look forward to a couple of good nights racing, both at Addington and then also the main one, Auckland?
No, I think we've covered the majority of it. We've certainly looked through all the features and, you know, there was great winners across the board and it's exciting. I think we're in a good space at the moment heading into winter, which can often be a bit of a lull. Yeah, no, it was nice to see a really good, successful Diamonds Day again.
No, absolutely. Addington on Friday night in Auckland. Smarter people than me say it works, so I won't say nothing too much. Highlights for this meeting coming up. There's a couple of 2-year-olds on the card, some first starters stepping out and that. But what are some of the highlights we've got for some of the people maybe in Australia?
Yeah, well, there's a start of what they call the autumn mare sprint, which is incidentally, given the banner scrolling across the bottom of the page, sponsored by Woodland Stud. So they race over a number of weeks over the 1980 and work their way towards a final. There's a nice wee field drawn there. Tokyo Rose, a nice filly from the Mark Jones stable. Judgment Bay's going really well for Chris McDowell, and you've obviously got Carla a flyby in the mix there. She's obviously the quality mare of the race. She's a little bit disappointing last time down south, but I think she'll bounce back. It's just a good card of racing on Friday night. Obviously, the feature being the Thai General About Now fillies and mares handicap trot, which we talked about before with Sunny Sister, Euro Style, I Dream of Jeannie, Page, who's in good form. There's some nice trotters in there, and that's going to be a nice chance for those mares and the fillies. Actually, no, they're all mares to get themselves a slice of the pie for a good stake.
Yeah, and a horse like Sunny Sister maybe, open up a lot of options maybe for Robert and Janet, because she's only a 4-year-old herself. And, there's some good money. I know they don't travel a lot, the Duns, as a rule, especially to Australia. They do travel both islands. It'd be great to see them take a mare like this across, because she's an exciting mare in her own right. And there's a couple of 2-year-old races on, as well as a couple of races promoting. There's the Woodlands Weanling Sale, 2-year-old fillies, and then I think the first race is 2-year-old colts and geldings with some interesting names. How do you say the 5? I'll put it up for everyone else. How do you say the name of the 5?
Persepolis.
Persepolis. Do we know what it means? Because when I looked it up, it looks like an old city that's gone in the ruins.
It's a character from something. I actually, funnily enough, am quite good friends with the owner of the horse, and she did explain it to me, but it might have been after a couple of fences one night, and I can't quite remember what the explanation that she gave me was.
You were right. There is also, I think it's a YouTube show or something.
Yeah.
So, I did see that. I wasn't sure. I looked and I'm like, I wonder what that means. But anyway, I digress, which I can do quite a bit, unfortunately, which is one of my weaknesses. But that's okay. You've got to try and keep me on the straight and narrow. Rightio, Auckland. Massive meeting coming up, which is what we're going to be saying for a lot of these North Island races. Field size is a good, Matty. That's an encouraging sign.
It is. We've got some nice horses, obviously, that are campaigning from Australia and the South Island up there, which does help. But it is a great card, and the fact that they've got 10 good races on throughout the night is good. It was said already this week that we need Auckland trotting to be strong. And we need these good meetings to be good meetings. And what we've got on Friday night is a very, very good meeting.
We might just touch on, I won't ask, to tip necessarily, but just your thoughts, because these have only just come out, the Taylor Mile. For old Peter Eclipse, he doesn't know what a good barrier draw looks like, that's for sure. But it is an interesting race, especially looking at it there with Merlin drawn inside the second line. Don't Stop Dreaming also inside the second line. It's going to be an interesting race, actually. Self-Assured gets a barrier draw advantage over a few of these, doesn't he?
He does. Look, it may still work out all right for Merlin with Republican Party drawn 1, because he is a very quick horse.
Yep.
And he might just look to buzz out and look to hold up. He's obviously been a little bit unlucky being trapped wide in his last few starts. Look, the draws do make it very, very interesting. You're right about Peter Eclipse. He cannot buy a draw in New Zealand, that horse. He can't buy one here in Australia.
I think if it's a non-feature race, he draws good, and then anything that's got G next to it, it can be 3, 2, 1. He's got no chance.
Even worse for him over the mile. Look, there is one potentially good aspect to it if you're Greg Sugars. He has drawn 5 the second row, which means he follows out sooner the better, who he know's got blister and gate speed. So there is a wee chance, should Greg want to chance his arm over the mile, that he might be able to just punch right through if he's hard up on his back and going with him from the moment they say go. But great wee field. Great to see Jollymont making the next step up. He's won his last 4 in a row, and look, every bit an open class horse in the making. Kango's drawn well. We know how much he likes to get on this speed and keep them honest. Great to see American Me up there for Brent and Timmy White, Sarah O'Reilly. He will potentially be better served by the distance in the Messenger next time round than I think he will the mile. But if they go absolutely ridiculous up front, he will keep running at them. Don't Stop Dreaming. I don't think you can write him off.
No.
It'll be easy to do it given the fact that it felt like he should have won at Cambridge the other night, but I'm prepared to say that he might still be the horse to beat, given Merlin may have some traffic issues if a Sooner the Better or someone gets across the Republican Party, because he's probably going to land in a pretty good spot. And interesting to see whether we can see the true version of Speak to Truth come back this week.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got a great draw. He's only going to be sort of 2 carts off him, you would imagine. Does Jollymont come out hard?
He can do.
Does he in this race?
Interesting as to whether he would, given Kango's drawn inside him. He might look to come across with Kango and get outside him. If Kango does decide that he wants to lead, and if David Butcher decides that he wants to lead, then David Butcher generally leads, because that's just how it works with D Butcher. Interesting to see who picks up the drive on Jollymont.
Yep.
Obviously, Mark Burton has been driving him. He's obviously committed to Self Assured. David Butcher's obviously on board Kango. Throwing some options out there, we might see Todd Mitchell. Tony Hurley's obviously on the suspension list at the moment.
Is that where I was going to say he was one person, he's not on Sooner the Better? I was wondering whether his name was being touted on Jollymont, but if he's suspended, that rules that out. So yeah.
I have a funny feeling he is currently suspended. So that would be why he's not down on Sooner the Better. So there's actually 2 really good drives available there for someone, because Sooner the Better's run in the Race by Grids was actually really good too, from a horrible draw and how far back he was. So this is the race of the week for me. There are so many.
I love Sooner the Better. I know he's not the best horse, but yeah, he's just a cool dude, I reckon. A little black fella that just gets the job done, just loves it. He's just such a nice horse. I just really like him, and barracking for him in the right ways. I like all of them, but he's just a cool dude. We mentioned bad barrier draws too there, Matty. Old Town Road, terrible again.
You don't have much luck either, but I guess a fair few of them would be happy to have a bad draw this week, even the Hotzer Group 1, and get a better draw in the Messenger that might work into their favour a bit more. But yeah, he was super again. The Race by Grins, Old Town Road. He requires that little bit of luck, I think, from out there. But if he can get onto the back of the right horse at the right time, get a drag into it, well, he's definitely capable of finishing over the top of them. He's got real high speed.
No. Totally agree with that. That's for sure. The Lone Star Alexandra Park Lyell Creek Stakes, Just Believe returns. I will say to New Zealand Harness Racing, I was at the Nutrient Equine sales, and there would have been, I reckon, 300 people in a little cafeteria, one TV, watching the race. Well done to everyone for getting horses like him over there, because there's so many more eyes watching New Zealand Harness Racing, and I reckon the same thing will happen. It's 7:30 over here on Friday night. I'll be at Bendigo Trots, but I can guarantee you no one will be watching anything else at Bendigo other than this race. So he's a draw card, and this race is really drawn up a lot with Oscar Bonavina drawing inside of him. It's going to make for an interesting race.
Yeah, it is, and this is a good horses race. Like, to win this race, you have to. You go back even before it was known as the Lyell Creek. You've got Diamond Field, Pride of Petite, Buster Hanover, Lyell Creek, to flick through a few more. One over Kenny, I Can Do's it, won it 3 times. Stent, Mombay, Sunny Ruby, Temporale, Mark All, Sunday Sun, Bolt for Brilliance, Muscle Mountain. That's the last half a dozen winners of this race, which means that only the best of the best win it. And given everything we saw at Cambridge a couple of weeks ago, we're going to see another very good horse put his name on the winners list, and that's going to be Just Believe. The only question that I did sort of have was, his first look at the Alexandra Park way of life, but he's such an ultimate professional that I can't see it worrying him.
I reckon Greg and Jess have a massive straight track, so he would be used to going, not turning certain ways. I know they work on both ways as well at home. And then you look at those European tracks where Greg was training on, where they go lefts and rights and everything else along those ways. I know it's different to a races, but I don't think that'd be his biggest concern. I remember Aldebaran Zeus last year. It was a massive concern for him because he wore a lug and pole on his near side, and he sort of lays on that pole to gain his speed around the turns when they're going the traditional way of going, that it really threw him undone. He couldn't get around that last turn last year around his runs at Auckland. But I don't think Just Believe will have that same issue myself. That's my take anyway.
Yeah, I was pretty much of the same opinion. I mean, he generally handles everything that's thrown at his direction, and as I said, he is the ultimate professional. So as long as it doesn't trip him up, he'll grab himself another Group 1.
No, absolutely. Any other highlights for the night that we have to look through? We've got the regional championships final there, as you said, with Smoke on the Water going around in that. That looks a nice enough field, though, Mickey Shan.
Yeah, it is. It's a really nice undercut, actually. You've obviously got $75,000 race, the Harness Million for the 3-year-old trotters earlier on in the night. You've got Paramount Kiwi going up against Princess Sadie again. Also Bounce and Beyond, who was a good fourth last week. The Delightful Lady Classic.
What
Group
race?
2 with 70,000 race 6.
Yep.
Yep. You're the one that I want, who we obviously had a look at earlier, looking for 3 in a row. Not much between her and Sandra D last time, so that'll be interesting. And obviously race 9, race 9. Race 8, the Classic Northern Regions Championship. Good field, as you say. Smoke on the Water, Mickey Shan, a little mare called Boudica from the top of the South Island's gone all the way up. She's a wonderful stand start exponent, and if she happened to lob herself a trail or 3 feet, she'd be a bit of a chance in that race, I think.
Yep. No, great night of racing coming up, and great for harness racing in New Zealand. As I said, better size fields. They could still be a bit bigger in spots, but there are some really good fields, and good to see a lot of the Southlanders going up there as well. So, which then adds that intrigue as well, and what Entain and everyone else want, betting turnover because of the intrigue, the people that are going around. So, there is a lot going on. I see Telford's got quite a team lining up there too as well. So they're having a red hot crack, that's for sure. Matty, thank you. Anything else you wanted to touch on for the Kiwi versus Aussies? Oh, we've got a highlight.
Oh, yeah, well, good. Miffin. Morris McKendry, Ricky May, Greg Sugars, and Chris Alford.
It was no good. G Sugar said it was no good. I said, what was wrong with it? He said, I couldn't get a winner.
No, he ran second. He ran second on my brother's trotter in the first race of the day, and I thought, look out, here we go. Greg's in for a good day. What I would just say on that was it was so well received to see those two guys stepping out at a place like Miffin on a Sunday, less than 48 hours after the big night at Cambridge. I know that the puppet wasn't feeling 100%, but, he stopped and took his time to talk to everyone that wanted to have a chat with him, and Greg does the same because that's just what Greg does. But they were really, really appreciated for the time that they made to come and drive on the grass track at Miffin. And I know a lot of the Canterbury racing community stepped out to see them in action and had a great day. So it was really good to see. And of course, the Kiwis won, so that was fantastic.
I haven't spoke to Chris, but Greg just said it was outstanding. He just said the only thing he said he just couldn't get a winner. He said he's not greedy or anything. He just said it'd be nice to have ticked off and said I've driven a winner. And because I said to him, I said, was there snow on the mountains? He goes, nah. But he said it was just so picturesque. I said, yeah, it's just a beautiful place to be. And bucket list for any of my Australian friends watching this, it is dead set a bucket list for tracks to go to, as is the Mott. As well.
The Mott. Kaikoura.
Yeah. The Omakau.
Roxbury. Yeah, we could go on and on and on and on, couldn't we?
What's the other one? What was the one in the middle before I went to Central Otago?
Geraldine.
Yeah, Geraldine. That is a must go. We were talking about that. I was at a dinner the other night. We were talking about that the other day, explaining to people that the horses have to cross the road and there's candy pole people to stop the traffic, and they're like, no. And we're like, yes. And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. There is. It is amazing. Artie's Express, absolutely sensational. Jack Chainer, Kiwi, 148.9. He has a way with these New Zealand mares, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that because she was high quality when she was here in New Zealand. Do I go out on a limb and say that I think she'll be the best mare in Australasia within the next 6 months? Maybe I will. We'll find out the next couple of weeks because there's a pretty smart mare waiting to meet her in a couple of weeks, and by the name of Ladies in Red. So
she's retired.
Oh, So I haven't been on social media for 24 hours.
Well, no, yeah, but hang on. I'll read the news while you keep talking because I'm sure that's what I read yesterday. So I better make sure that it was what I did read. But I'm sure that's what I read yesterday somewhere that she's recently been retired. So I can't find it.
Now I'm trying to find it too. But no, Artie's Express, that was fantastic to see her first up, and obviously for owner Mike Tanev to see Artie by the seaside, who he still owns a share in, I believe, over in Perth, winning first up there. She was beast mode, Artie by the seaside. In fact, they both were. And they're going to go on and do really, really good jobs in the next, 6 to 12 months.
Yep, and and as you said, it's daughter of Seaside, but down by the seaside, great supporters of mine. I can't see this now, so maybe I'm sure I saw it. Oh, I'm bloody sure I saw it. But I might be wrong. So, but yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. There we are. Thanks for the memories. That to me means you always got to read the full scene. Let's enjoy the last few months. Okay, she's not retired yet, so yeah. Bloody clickbait, I tell you. Thanks to the memories, ladies in red, is all I read. So I thought that she had retired, but she will be going to stud this year. So, so anyway, it'll be interesting. It's going to make for a great leadership mile too, which will be super exciting. He's got Manhattan. He's got Braveview Kelly. He's got a nice team of horses around him, Jacko, that's for sure.
Yeah, when you throw them around, you've got, Isle Bubbles and Isle Ever Bubbles and the likes as well. It's actually going to shape up to be an absolute cracker. And I just think that Artie's Express will bounce through that run unreal. She'll be much more improved. And I mean, I know how good Tim Williams thought she was, and those that have worked with her when she was here in New Zealand at Samoa. And yeah, I'm quite excited to see what she can do there because I think she's in the right place of the world for her at the moment. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Mate, thank you. The NZB Weanling sales, 23rd of May, a Thursday at Karaka, with 106 weanlings going on offer, and 2 yearlings will be offered up as well. One for Woodlands, and I'm presuming the other one is for Alabar, but not 100% sure on that. But anyway, make a weekend of it. Go home on the Sunday, great night of racing on the Friday night at Auckland, and get around and have a bit of fun. It's a good place to be, that's for sure. Matey, thank you. Appreciate it. As always, always appreciate your input, and we'll be back next week, next Tuesday, and try and keep crossing over, getting the publicity out there. At quieter months, we might try and change it up. We might get some special guests on as well. But thank you very much for joining me, mate.
Yeah, no worries at all, Paul. Always a pleasure to talk harness racing with you, and just let people know what's actually happening over here in New Zealand if they're not tuning in and catching all that action. We've got some quality racing coming up in the next month or so as we roll through some pretty important carnivals. Most importantly, obviously, Alexandra Park with that kicking off with the Taylor Mile this week, and of course the Lyell Creek Stakes. But we just keep building towards Row Cups and Auckland Cups and all sorts of things as well. So looking forward to being able to talk with you about that as often as we can over the coming weeks and months.
Quite often gets said with everyone, the depth in New Zealand free-for-alls and in Australian free-for-alls. Australia couldn't get a race like the Messenger in Australia without Kiwi horses coming across at the minute. The depth and quality of horses that are in New Zealand right at the minute is just outstanding, and I think it's testament to everyone behind the scenes that what they're doing. More prize money means those horses stay as well. The trainers, the drivers, a commitment from everyone to grow the sport, and I think that's pretty exciting as well. So well done to everyone in New Zealand.
Yeah, I think we're in that really interesting space at the moment, and we've talked about it before. Like, you've got your top echelon pacers who are your best pacers in the country, and the horses that are most likely to win a New Zealand Trotting Cup come November. But then you go and add in all those horses that are in the Taylor Mile this week, and then you come down to Canterbury and you look at horses like Ultra Meteor, who's black type in its last 2 starts, Ahoka Connor, Who's Delight, Beach Ball, the list goes on and on. There's a lot of depth there, which is really exciting building to November, because I know for the last few years it's been a little bit of a head scratch to see whether we're actually going to have a full field coming together. So hopefully there's enough horses there to make it happen this year, and we get what could potentially be one of the most even and open New Zealand Trotting Cups we've seen for a while.
Don't know where he's up to either. There is a little horse called Copy That I think is still trying to make a comeback. Of course, he was a Weanling sale graduate. I think he was 9,000. maybe 7. I don't know. But anyway, he was a fair buy either way. Doesn't matter. I don't think they worry about $2,000 when you get a horse like him. I don't know where he's at with his comeback, but, 2-time winner. Be great to see him come back as well. So, yeah, it's terrific. Matty, thanks, mate.
No, thank you, mate. We'll talk again next week.
Thank you.